Breaking news now, bad news from Ukraine could hit NATO hard. The Secretary General issues a warning. As Ukraine maintains its defenses against Russia's full-scale invasion, Western Military Alliance Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has cautioned that bad news could emerge from the front. According to Stoltenberg, wars develop in phases during an interview he gave on Saturday to the German broadcaster ARD. "We must stand by Ukraine through thick and thin," he declared, adding, "We should also be prepared for bad news." Stoltenberg offered no further details. His remarks coincide with a time of heated debate among Western allies over Ukraine's financial and ammunition aid, as well as a rise in Russian troop levels. To bring the total number of Russian soldiers to 1.3 million, President Vladimir Putin signed a decree on Friday increasing their numbers by around 170,000. Despite a counteroffensive launched by Kiev in the summer, the front lines have made very little progress in the months following. However, the Russian fleet was pushed back in the Black Sea by the Ukrainians using cruise missiles, and damage was inflicted deep into Russian territory. Despite their inability to advance the front line, Stoltenberg proclaimed, "These are big victories." During the interview, bemoaning the disjointed nature of Europe's defense industry. Stoltenberg urged NATO members to increase ammunition production. He criticized governments for failing to collaborate closely enough and urged them to put aside narrow national interests in order to understand the broader global context. According to Stoltenberg, if Putin were to win, it would be disastrous for Ukraine and pose a threat to the other allies. "We can hasten the end of the war by providing more aid to the Ukrainian people, per quasi un buontempone Matteo Salvini, in mezzo alla compagnia malvagia e sempia, riunitasi appunto nella patria di Dante, il leader dell'estrema destra austriaca che indugia su toni ai limiti dell'antisemitismo, il rumino che osana Putin, Illinois monarchico polacco per ciu la religione e l'unica leg per guidare l'Europa e l'Eston che, sull'immigrazione, rend plastico l'assimoro dell'internazionale sovranista. Ognuno di occupi degli arrivi a casa sua." Generally speaking, the stodginess and discontented former leader of the Liberal Party, who unlike the others is not in opposition, also lacks the charisma of bygone days. "Lotta norma senza farsi male" rather than "lotta dura senza pora," as was said once. Why? The rhetoric of David versus Goliath works, just like the Europe of strong banks and powerful powers, the irreproachable Soros, and foreign victories. Unfortunately, the move was made just to avoid causing any damage to Goliath. Overall, the challenge from the opposite side to Giorgia Meloni is successful, but the foundation is that of a stabbed-in replica. And bad news, at least there's Venacci to make up for the growing number of goals. The truth is that this Florence meeting of the Identità e Democrazia group was a disaster. Salvini had viewed the appointment as an international stage, having emerged from his many failed presidencies, the victory of expressing the Minister of Economy with Lodin, and the role of compromerio che sogna il 10%. Scene where Giorgia Meloni, less free between Washington and Brussels, will don the robe of the Guardiano della Rivoluzione, custode of that symbolic universe she can no longer evoke. Never again will it be a good idea to deal with infrastructure and abridge Marine Le Pen's subliminal absence from the stage, along with Geert Wilders' subliminal message of "Mettiamo le vele a questo vento," diminish the emotional impact of an event where the photo should have spoken louder. This is a broken record. On the other hand, Salvini knows full well that there isn't just one chance that, following the Europeans, a centre-left majority could be formed, starting with the populists and moving on to the conservatives, for numerical and political reasons. Her somewhat united stance is all twisted around an internal chiave, which will be relevant both now and tomorrow when Giorgia Meloni must decide whether to participate in the new maggioranza with populists and socialists, where the first choice, inspired by realism, points to the critic of tradition on the other side. It is all just a consensus challenge. Maurizio Fagatti, who has nothing to do with Wilders, wins in Trentino for the Liga, which is the other paradoxical result because the scheme has not worked so far. However, Salvini knows only that and doesn't know how to change it. Still plays the same way even though it's been years since she last won a match.